The No BS Nutrition Kickstart is done. Let me start by congratulating all of you that have logged regularly throughout this Kickstart, and all of you that took part in that and didn't log. I hope that you've gained something from this Kickstart. In terms of the leaderboard, ironically, we have 3 S's in the top 3. In third place, we had Susanna Cattell. In second place, Stuart Real-Slavicki. And the winner of the No BS Nutrition Challenge is Sarah Minty, one of our new members. So great work from all of you who took part, and congratulations to those winners. I will be dropping you an email. We're going to offer you some skills sessions as prizes for being our star participants. With regards to my experience of this Kickstart, I want to talk about 3 things. I want to talk about how I found it this time around, what I might change in the next iteration of the No BS Kickstart, and what I'm going to take for my nutrition going forward. So first of all, what have I learned, and how was my experience this time? This being the 4th time I've done this Kickstart. Every year I get better at cutting sugar and alcohol out of my diet. I found that non-alcoholic beers have got so much better over the last few years that really the alcohol side, because it's only really an evening, something different flavoured that I crave, not necessarily alcohol, that's been pretty straightforward. The sugar side of things, there's been a few days where I've been tempted, but also over these years of taking part, I've learned what are good replacements for me when I get that sweet tooth craving, and also making sure that I'm not getting hungry during those times where I may crave a sugary treat, a biscuit or something like that. Always challenging for me is cutting out processed foods. I love a protein bar after it's one of my sugar replacements actually, after my meal. And a protein shake, I know I allow those in the challenge, but I have those as, again, another way to sort of fill those cravings for sweetness. Bread is a bit of a nemesis for me, and I think this challenge, I've done my best at depriving myself or stopping myself from having bread on those 5 days where I'm not having breakfast with the kids. I tend to have, like I say, toast with the kids for breakfast time. So just to take part with those. Maybe next time I could try and replace, I actually did start replacing the bread with black pudding, which was delicious, and I found that's a great replacement for bread for me. So there is something that I've learned in this Kickstart. I think going forward, maybe if I wanted to make it more challenging for myself, I might look at seeing if I could do no sugar and also no polyols, so no replacement sugar, no artificial sugars. I'm not sure how that will work for everyone. I'm not sure if I want to apply that, because a lot of people cutting out sugar is challenging enough. But maybe I'll make it an option next time around to see if we can do something without the polyols. There are some research papers, some studies that suggest that there are detrimental effects to taking on sweeteners and replacing sugars, but I've yet to see anything that has convinced me that it's better to eat sugar than it is to eat polyols and replace those. And generally, hopefully we won't be binging out like we would do on a packet of chocolate biscuits. Hopefully we're not binging on a packet of sugar-free biscuits with polyols within them, and that's kind of where I'm not, what I don't tend to do. I just have one snack on that rather than just tons and tons of sweet treats, which I would do with sugars. What I'm going to take forward and what I'm going to take with my nutrition is I'm going to stick with the no bread as often as possible. Now, this first week back, I took a little dive. I never know if it's off the wagon or on the wagon, but anyway, either way, I had a few days where I just pounded some sugars. I pounded crackers and cheese, and I had maybe crumpets. And immediately, and as always, when you remove food and add something back in, it can have a negative effect, but I just didn't feel great and actually didn't get the enjoyment that maybe the calories and the negative effects deserved. I saw a post on one of the social media feeds I follow, and I shared, I think, on our Australian page, that we should be able to get a refund in the calories for the foods that aren't really worth it. And I felt like that on many occasions. So what I've done is I've come back onto, or off the wagon, whatever the phrase is, to really reduce the amount of sugar I'm taking. I'm trying to avoid too many sugary treats in the evening, definitely avoiding the breads outside of those days that I was doing during the Kickstart anyway. And I want to take that going forward. So I think it's had some real positive effects on my how I feel honest, I feel, and definitely I don't get that dip that sometimes the next day when you've had a day of, like I say, starchy carbohydrates, processed food, sugars, just feel a little bit down, and I've noticed that is very apparent, and also just feel a bit heavy. Take that into my workout. That's definitely something I'm going to keep applying, and that's why I love the regularness that we run these kickstarts once a quarter. Because once you do start to sort of fall away, I always feel that there's another kickstart that me running them makes me definitely more accountable to get me back on track. There we have it. The No BS kickstart is done. Hopefully some of you are taking some good lessons forward. Please send me some messages or put some comments on how you found it and what you've learned, and maybe some ideas that you've learned to replace those sugars. The next nutrition kickstart is the macro kickstart, and that starts, I'm just looking at my diary here, in April. And basically we're waiting until the open is done and dusted, and then we're going to kickstart that in April. It's going to be all about hitting your macros, but I'll talk more about that at the time. Like I say, drop me some messages, how you got on with the No BS kickstart. Congratulations to all who took part, and enjoy the rest of your week.